stand this morning. I had thought about going to a different stand this morning, but I've just been seeing so many deer out of this stand that it's hard to go away from something that's working, so... Woke up this morning, it was about 24 degrees. I think it's supposed to be a mostly sunny day today. Dead calm, there's no wind at all. There was a frost up on top of the ridge this morning in the field, but down here in the pines, it's just damp. Normally when there's a frost up there, it's also crunchy down here in the pines, but it's damp this morning, so that's going to make it a little more tricky to hear the deer coming. It's already quiet in here because it's pine, the edge of pine thicket, so it's already tough to hear them. So it's going to be very much a visual game, and there's not a lot of visibility in here. I can pan around and show you in a minute, but you really don't have a lot of visibility. Visibility greatly increases when the sun comes up, and you can start seeing shadows in here, and you just start looking for any little bit of movement you can see. Wow. Another incredible morning here in this stand. Ended up seeing 11 this morning. Take this so I can hear better while I'm doing this. Ended up seeing 11. Had 8 does and fawns come through first. Then I had a spike come through. Actually, I think I had 5. Yeah, I had 5 come through, 5 does and fawns across the field. Then I had a spike come through. Then I had 3 does and fawns come through directly almost under me. And then after they came through, I had a 3-point, and I think the second one was a 6-point. Those last 2 bucks came through just nose to the ground, trotting down the exact same trail that those 3 does and fawns came through on. So obviously one of them's in heat. So pretty awesome morning, I can't tell you how many encounters I've had out of this stand this year where the deer have been 10 yards or closer to me. And most of the time, I've been here in my full blaze Sitka Stratus jacket and beanie too. Technically, I'm not required to wear a blaze here on my own property. Landowner exemption in Tennessee, you don't have to wear it. But we've had so many issues with trespassers and poachers that I generally like to wear blaze. Not always a full jacket, but that windproof Stratus jacket is just the most incredible jacket that I have ever worn before for hunting. It is amazing. I actually have, it's going to sound bad, I actually have 3 of them in different patterns. And one was the original Stratus. It's probably 10 years old now. It's starting to get worn out, but I'm passing it down to my son. And then anyway, not to talk about clothing here, but so many deer I've seen here out of this stand, been within 10 yards of me this year. And a lot of people don't want to wear blaze because they say that deer see it. Well, it's scientifically proven that deer don't see that color spectrum. But whatever, people can believe whatever they want to believe. These deer will glance up in the trees, they'll walk through. They don't see me. And the other thing I got working for me here is, just heard something, it was a squirrel. The other thing I got working for me here is typically the prevailing wind is coming from the northwest or west, and it's pushing my scent right down to where these deer are passing through. Well, on this hillside, you got to play the thermals. So in the morning, when the sun starts going down into the valley and starts warming things up, a breeze, a 3 to 4 to 5 mile per hour breeze starts coming straight up the hill. It's the thermal effect. And it starts carrying my scent up and away from the deer. So I'm able to be really close to these deer, moving, videoing, self-filming, all this stuff. And they don't know I'm here. It's amazing. This stand, I can't believe that I haven't had a stand here in all these years. And I'm seeing so many deer. This is incredible. If I could just get my son to come over here and hunt, I think he would love it. But he really enjoys hunting out that ground blind. One thing I've noticed is when the deer cross the field at his ground blind, they're running across the field because it's in the open. As soon as they get down here into the pine thicket, they stop. And they start just slowly walking through, browsing on twigs and undergrowth and honeysuckle vines and all that stuff. It's amazing. Anyway, another great morning. I'm not done yet. I'm going to stay out here a little bit longer, see if maybe a mature buck comes through trailing. It's been about an hour now, so I have a feeling that they're probably done with whatever was after those does, but you just never know. It is Friday, December 20th. I had to work today until 4 o'clock, so later than usual. We've got a cold front moving in. It's bringing snow. It's 35 degrees out here right now, and we've got about a 15 mile per hour wind up on top of the ridge up at my house on my farm where you usually see me hunting. The wind is whipping up there, and historically when the conditions are like that up there, I never see anything. So I decided to do something a little different today. When I got done with work, I threw my gear on. I got a trail camera here. I'm going to do some scouting I went over here. I'm in a really low section, low elevation section of the farm. I'm mainly coming over here to use the wind and the wet ground as cover for me to just do some scouting in here. I'm not seeing a whole lot of big buck activity here lately. My trail cameras are not getting any bucks on camera. I'm seeing a ton of does and fawns over on me, but I'm wondering if maybe the bucks are hanging out in the thick stuff over here. And so I'm just going to walk through, do some slow scouting. This wind is crazy. I mean, there's limbs falling out around me, so I'm just going to have to be careful where I'm going. I'm just going to take my time, walk up these hollers, looking around for sign, and try to maybe come up with a game plan for the second half of this Tennessee rifle season. Anyway, let's get to walking. Whole bunch of turkey sign. Turkeys have been in here heavily. Alright, I've worked my way up this deep holler to where it gets up here to the back. And back here in the back it splits. And it goes up 2 hollers and it gets really steep in a hurry. And there's rubs everywhere right here at this transition zone. I'll spin it around here. So there's one there. There's another one back there. There's another one there. There's another one back up there. So interestingly, it looks like the bucks have not been using down at the front where my tree stand is at and where I've had cameras and not getting any pictures. They're using back here where it transitions from kind of a slow, gradual holler. It starts to transition and goes almost vertical right back in here. Almost looks like they may be walking along this rim here. It gets really steep, ledges. It's nasty. I'm gonna see if I can push my way up through a little bit and just see what the sign looks like as I go farther in. All right, well, I got stuck trying to go up one of those 2 feeder hollers and couldn't go up any farther, so I had to skirt my way around to try to get up above one of the ledges. And I'm still hooking my way around, and I get over here almost to the same elevation, and over on top of one of those ledges there was a deer bedded on top of that ledge looking down the holler where I came from. It's just standing over there blowing and snorting right now. I don't see any antlers. I mean, it could be a spike, but I'm assuming it's a doe right now. But no, I don't see any antlers on it, but there could be more with it. But anyway, so that's interesting. That kind of goes along with me seeing the sign at the head of the holler where it started to transition from flat to vertical. They're obviously hanging out in that transition zone because it gives them a lot of safety and security because they can see for so far in there. I'm getting up into the wind now, coming out of the north. I'm going to ease my way on around out through here and just see if I can see any other sign. I just want to give you an example of what this looks like up here, how thick this is. Check this out. I mean, you can't get a shot up here more than probably 15 yards. It is so thick. It is a jungle, but I'm not seeing any rubs or scrapes. I'm walking along an old logging road that's just grown up, and the sides of it have all grown up as well. And there's no rubs or scrapes or anything. There was a loud commotion just over the ridge from me, just over the knob here from me just then. It sounded really weird. It wasn't like something running. It's almost a metallic sound. So I'm gonna sneak my way through and just see. I'm hoping there's not somebody has snuck in over here. That'd be a really scary situation. Alright, check this out. So I dropped off that trail, that logging road I was on, because it just got so thick you couldn't get through it. And there were trees down all across it. I came down to the next logging road, which is also grown up. So you look back this way, it makes its way off back through there, over into another deep holler. Well, there's this beech tree right here. There's a scrape here under it. Look at this. Every limb, or every little branch on this limb has been snapped off. And it's fresh. So there's a buck been using this beech tree. And there's droppings everywhere in here too. That's probably a good sized buck using this scrape here if he's breaking limbs off 6 feet high. Anyway, I'm gonna work my way back this way down the trail and see what else I find. Okay, I put my camera that I was carrying around up over that scrape. I'll check it in a week or so and see what's going on there. I walked away from there to get out of that area and not disturb it anymore. And as I was making my way into this area, which is over where my tree stand is at, you can't see my tree stand because it's so thick. I found another scrape and a couple more rubs. So it looks like the deer are staying up here in this slightly higher elevation, because there's no buck sign down there in the holler where my tree stand is at. So, and I couldn't have seen them up here because it's so thick. I mean, I'm 100 yards from my stand, but I can't even see my stand, and I know where it's at, and I'm trying to see it. So to be trying to look up here and see a deer walking through this mess, no way, no way. Of all things, there is a hen walking in front of me, and I'm in full blaze. You've got to be kidding me.